Hello and welcome to Design Boss Dialogue, the podcast where bold and ambitious women in interior design come for real conversations to transform and take their businesses to new heights. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, interior designer and business mentor, here to share my experiences and insights into running an interior design business, as well as empowering you to build the confident, profitable design business you've been dreaming of and truly deserve. In this space, we blend creativity with strategy to help you craft your success and thrive in the world of design. Every episode is packed with unfiltered, no BS conversations, daily inspiration, and actionable business tips to turn your passion into a thriving, cash-rich business. Together, we're redefining what it means to succeed in the interior design industry, one intentional, game-changing decision at a time. So get ready to step up, elevate, and create the design empire you've always envisioned. Jessica, it is lovely to have you on today's podcast. And for all of you listening, I have got Jessica Ruth-Smith from Studio Smith Interior Design here to talk about her latest venture, Curated Spaces. She's been in my world since summer 2024. And I'm so excited to have her on the podcast today. Jessica, welcome.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am great. I cannot wait to get stuck into today's conversation about Curated Spaces, because this has been a baby that I have watched since last year. This amazing service. Introduce it and tell the world what it is.
So essentially, it's a layout service. It is all about perfecting the layout of your home, no matter what you're struggling with, and making sure that you are moving into your build with clarity and knowing that you're making the most out of your home. So it's all about the layout, essentially.
I love that. And I think a lot of interior designers, when they first go into interior design, they really struggle understanding the generic services that they should offer. So they feel like they should offer all and sundry. And I remember this is a conversation that we had right back at the beginning when we first met, because you had your interior design studio and it was offering interior design, but you felt like there was so much more the studio could give. And that's when you had your pivotal moment. And talk us through that.
Prior to having my studio, I worked for a kitchen company, and I worked for the kitchen company while I was studying design because I really wanted to get out of the other industry I was in. But I kept seeing, I couldn't really do anything about it, but a lot of floor plans that were huge or big or not making the most out of the space. And I really felt for people when they were coming in and thinking, well, this is not my job. I can't tell you you're building too much because that is way over the line. But it was in the back of my mind from that point. So it's been on my mind for a long time, this layout service. So I did some really basic marketing, trying to understand what people struggled with, how to position yourself, and nobody responded. Obviously, it was market research that I posted on wherever I could find, and I barely got anybody. So I kept trying to change it. And then I think when I first spoke to you, you were like, oh, you're really passionate about this. This is something that we need to take and turn into what it is now, basically.
Which we're going to get onto.
Yeah.
But it is true. I see, and you've seen, and obviously when we've spoken over, the last year effectively, and there are so many people struggling up and down the UK alone with really dodgy, bad floor plans from architects that just don't understand the client's brief, which is really sad, because for a lot of people out there that are DIYers or they're doing home renovations and this isn't their craft, it's such an overwhelming process, isn't it? And if you start off with getting the floor plans wrong, it's well, is this going to be the rest of the build? Talk us through what you see day in, day out.
Oh God. Like,
I mean, we could be here forever, couldn't we?
Oh, we could be here forever. And honestly, it breaks my heart. You know, some people have invested thousands of pounds only to then have their architect say, well, I don't really bother with the inside. Like, and I think, okay, that's fine. If that's not your job, I genuinely think you need to highlight that to people, because if they're very interiors led and they're showing you all of these interiors, like, images when you're first starting the process, there's no way that the person who's taken their money doesn't know they're going to be very disappointed by what they're giving them. They're just going like, well, it doesn't really matter. So I think it's that for some extension projects in the UK, architect might almost be too much, because you hear all of these horror stories, and these are people that I've spoken to that have, you know, paid thousands of pounds for plans, and the architect's gone, well, if you want to change that scope, I'm not going to help you. So they've essentially drawn something that the person can't afford and, you know, is never going to be able to build. So I think one of the parts of Curated Spaces was always, I want people to be able to build what we draw, right? And that's through really strategic moves internally, that you know, that's what interior designers do, right? It's the flow, it's the function, it's only ever building what you need. So yeah, I do have some horror stories. It makes you feel quite sad.
I mean, so for the listeners listening, I get to listen to a lot of these stories every single month, and you sometimes have a chuckle about what does come out from them, but it is really heartbreaking, some of the stuff, when you hear it. And, you know, architects are adding excess space on that, you know, to the average person up and down the country. Adding a couple of square meters on that's not necessary can add tens of thousands of pounds onto a renovation build, which they might not have that in the budget. And the beauty, I suppose, about Curated Spaces and what you offer is you're so strategic, and you use that word there now, strategic, with the floor plans, that actually when you speak to your clients, or your clients go through this process, it's, what do you really need the space for? How do you want to live? How are you going to flow around this space? And actually, you don't need those additional 2 square meters, because they're going to cost you an additional 25,000. Do you have that in your budget? No. Okay, well, let's shave that back and you still get the floor plan of your dreams, right?
Yeah. I think as well, like, because it's not necessary, so we don't just do one layout. So you're almost never, there's so much behind the process. So if you have had plans drawn from an architect already, you know, layout number 1 is pretty much usually always like, okay, let's make the most out of that space, because that's the space that you've been thinking about so much. And then it's like, if we, you know, start to really drill down into the functions of those like earlier rooms in your floor plan, not the extension, how can we streamline what's at the back? And then on layout number 2, it's like a bit more, you know, we're potentially a bit more cautious, we're a bit more balancing that budget. And you'd be surprised, like one recently, we took off like 16 square meters. It was insane, which is an insane amount of money.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. And to think that they could have built that, had used all that money, not really needed all that space. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Think about it. So tell me the big golden secret with Creative Spaces, in the sense of, you know, I'm a client, I'm coming to you, I've got a dodgy floor plan. What am I going to really get from it, from the end of it?
Oh, I've had so many different types of people, and I had a really wonderful conversation with someone the other day, and she said to me, like, it's internals only, no extension. But she was like, the clarity that it's brought is crazy, because she's having these really confident conversations with builders, being like, no, I don't want that. I want what's drawn. And the pricing's been so clear. So all throughout this process, she's felt so empowered by like, no, I have a plan. We are working towards the plan. Like, don't deviate from the plan. So it's this accurate pricing that, you know, she wouldn't have got, because it would have been a really fluffy, you know, brief to the builder. And, you know, it's that confidence and clarity throughout it that's made her be able to say, no, 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 I don't want that. I want what's drawn. So it's, yeah, there's been so many brilliant conversations that I'm having with people that are like, oh yeah, it's just streamlined everything for me.
I love that. The words streamlined, confidence, clarity, empowerment, especially when it's around floor plans and your renovation and your build, are words that go hand in hand together. Like, they're perfect.
And there's another tiny cheeky element of this as well. The person that she reached out to told her to get a drawing from his architect. Thousands of pounds to what? Do the same thing?
Yeah, naughty. So
naughty. I know. But can you believe that? That's actually happening.
I feel like we could ruffle feathers in the industry here.
Oh, I feel like when I post things recently, I am ruffling a few feathers. I have had some messages, some comments, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm maybe doing the right thing because you're not happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, what does it show for your conscience?
Yeah.
I think a lot of, like you say, going back to the architectural points, and obviously I'm not going to downplay architects, and architects have their role in the industry for sure. But when they don't really care about the internals, it's more necessary at the start of a renovation project to actually pick the phone up to a designer, and especially someone like yourself in such a specialist area where you can guide them through that particular process. And then if they need construction drawings, which they are going to need to, pass them across to the architect. And then most probably going to be 9 times out of 10 a lot cheaper to produce because you know what you're producing.
Yeah, and I think it's I love architects, don't get me wrong, but I think it's the communications. I've just started working with someone who always knew she was going to work with a designer on the internals because her architect had said to her, I don't touch that. I'm not good at it. I don't do it, but I can draw you a shell and help you pass planning. She was like, okay, perfect. So there's no confusion. There's no feeling let down. She knew that to get the results she wanted, she needed to reach out to an interior designer. So there's that clarity that architect has provided her with. So therefore she knows that she needs to get someone else in on the project. And I think that's the communication. That's the bit that helps people understand what they're paying for and where their money is going.
Exactly. And I think if maybe it's more the education around architects that we need to provide, but obviously that's going to be a conversation for another day.
I have had a carousel sat in my marketing for probably about 12 weeks, and I cannot bring myself to post it because I know I'm going to get so much backlash from it. So I'm just sitting on it until I'm in a really, really good place.
I mean, let's just go there with this good place because you are in a phenomenal place. So obviously Curated Spaces, and I'd love to see this carousel now that you've planted the seed. We'll do it in the next meeting. But Curated Spaces launched in January. So obviously we started working together. For all of you out there, I have been Jessica's coach since last year and supporting Jessica in her studio. We worked together from September to December, really building that big vision for Curated Spaces and how it was going to run and how it was going to work. I was like your North Star of the business to kind of guide you forward. We new launched in January 2025. And we are 6 months now, literally nearly 6 months to the day of launching. Did you think it would go viral?
Oh God, no. No. Absolutely not. But at the same time, like, I have really been trying.
You've been incredible.
Like, this isn't a coincidence. Like, I have done a lot of work on Instagram and how to use Instagram and spoken to certain people because like that, you know, like I'm not an expert in it. So how do you position yourself, you know, through you, but also through like it's just a beast, right? But I think when you harness it, it's a game changer. Like it will forever be this powerful thing because I have a wait list now for curated spaces. Like that's mad, absolute madness.
I remember the conversations we had back in January with, you know, well, I wonder how many people are going to buy into this. And what if no one buys into it? And how big is this actually going to get? What if this is only small? What if this? And I was like, Jessica, come on, now this is going to be big. And I think it was, you know, every month that we got on those calls, it was like, okay, we're starting to gain some serious traction. We've got loads of traction. We're now going viral, and it's just been this beautiful snowball effect to watch. What are the big plans for Curated Spaces? The bigger it gets, because this business.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like automation in the pipeline, not from the point of view of the client. Like that will always be incredibly client focused. That will always be, you know, as many touch points for them as possible, but automated from the sort of back end of things, a slight readjustment of, you know, packages and how it works. So there's all sorts of bits and pieces going on in the background of just trying to be as sort of efficient and effective as possible. But yeah, like I think I've got like over 7,000 followers now. So that's in maybe 6 months.
What? Yeah.
It's mad.
It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
I really love it. You've done absolutely amazing. And obviously to then ask you, how did you feel that Design Boss Diary helped you in that process from the beginning?
I think like you test the waters, right? So I think the first thing I did was tried fully booked and highly paid.
Yeah, the profitability pricing method.
Yeah, and then after that I was like, oh, well, this is brilliant. It was not a framework I'd ever been taught. I hadn't, like, I sort of had bit like, you know, previously someone had said, oh, you know, these guidelines are a good way to like set pricing, but the way that you talked through it and the way that you set that up, it's just so incredible because it provides you with so much clarity, me, but it also provides the client with so much clarity that they feel really confident that, oh, okay, well, I really understand what I'm getting here. I really understand what this means and how this sits. And, you know, there's less sort of woolliness in it. So I think it was that just as soon as that course did that for me, I was like, oh, well, I have to work with her more. Like, this is non-negotiable. Like, find the money.
Do it.
Yeah. And then I just think like ever since then, just continued support. And I think Curated Spaces, you know, I never sort of done anything like that, launched anything, set anything up like that. So your experience and your clarity on pricing and how it should go, like, it wouldn't have been as quick, and I don't think it would have been as easy and as successful if I hadn't had that support from you.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. Thank you. I think it's the power of pricing. Going back to fully booked and highly paid, the reason why I put that out there to support so many people like yourself is there is also so much confusion in the industry with pricing, and designers lose so much time and effort thinking about pricing. How should I price? What's this job? They reinvent the wheel constantly with pricing. So obviously, when I went through fully booked and highly paid with your cohort, you know, I remember you coming out of it saying there's just so much clarity on how you should price. And it's then that we started looking at certain aspects within that profitability pricing method and how to apply them to curated spaces. And it became so much more easier for you to digest and understand and grow and build it. But also, I remember when you were pricing projects up, it was like, well, it's easy because you have the answers in front of you and you're not reinventing the pricing wheel.
Not reinventing the wheel at all, no. And I think as well, like that, that clarity has changed it for people coming into curated spaces as well. Like curated spaces, I want it to be entry level, that accessible price point, but actually it delivers so much. Like it's just a brilliant way of setting yourself up for a win.
And I think also when you have the added support of a coach or mentor that has either walked a particular path or shoes that you want to try and go down or fill or walk in, that person can almost see the roadmap in front to a certain degree and actually understand and know how to get you there. And I suppose the beauty of that and why Curated Spaces was launched so quickly, even though there was a vast amount of work that was done and it was like a full-time job for you creating it all, you were able to shave months and years of the information that you were receiving to be able to implement that into Curated Spaces with a coach.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think I could have got lost in that for so much longer. And I also think like it has massively changed since the first day I even launched it, because things do, like you test it, you can test it and you can check it, and there's only so many like so much information, you know, you or however many people you speak to can do, until just from the messaging point of view, like it has changed so much. But I think that's pretty normal when you launch something, right? That like it doesn't stay how it is forever.
No, it's the power of refining and tweaking it, which is where kind of the magic lies, isn't it? It's really important to make sure that that is all a continuous process, certainly for the first year. Because when you launch something, like you say, it's never going to be the same 3 months because you're going to test it. Now, I remember, obviously, you launched in the January and there was loads of inquiries. There was one particular message that I received when I was on a train up to Birmingham for a conference of yours. And it was the first huge invoice that went out to a client. And it was almost like they've signed on the dotted line within less than 24 hours. That was just a phenomenal moment for me, for you and the business.
Yeah, like I think it was within 24 hours. Like, just mad, absolute madness. Like, I can't wait to work with you. Done.
Ticked. And I suppose from that, we put so much time and effort and information into how to not only position and price it, but also look at the way the welcome letters were constructed, the language around that, the quotations, the confirmations of agreement, like how it professionally was laid out so that the client could digest it. It was so easy for them. And it was a nice big 5-figure chunky sum that they was like, yes, absolutely. No questions, no quibble. Where do I sign?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still now sometimes think, did that really happen?
I love it. I remember opening the message and I was actually standing beside my coach before she was going into a conference. And I was kind of jumping up and down for joy. And she was like, what's gone on? And I showed her the message. I was like, I'm so proud of this woman. She's just done this. And she was celebrating for you. And I think for me, each of my clients, when they receive these really lovely wins, I celebrate with you guys because I really feel the passion that you put into these things and the work that I put in and what I teach and guide, to know that it can instantly work and you can get cash injections so quickly into the business like that is just phenomenal. It's so rewarding.
Yeah, and like to think that now I've got support in the business. I have someone helping me with like admin.
Team member. Yeah. love it.
Mad, absolutely mad. Yeah, so good. So good.
It's a really lovely way for the studio to grow and evolve. And I think it's so many people actually could spend the first couple of years evolving the studio on their own. But actually, if you put the support in place, you do naturally shave 3 years off, because you're now 6 months launched. You've got someone in the studio supporting you, which actually in January, you never even thought that would happen come this summer.
No way. Almost, it's funny, isn't it? We're saying like we're almost at this waiting period, because obviously I get married in September. You are like chomping at the bit to like, take it to the next level, and I'm like, just wait until I get married.
I know, with the conversations that we've been having in our coaching calls, I'm kind of like literally like a horse out of the traps, and she's like, no, just give me 2 more months. And I'm like, come on, Jessica, I'm so ready to scale this business.
I feel like after I get married, I'm going to have this message literally the next day, like, right, what are we doing? When is this happening?
It's like, congratulations on the marriage. Hope you've had a fabulous day. However, we've got work to do. We're scaling the business.
Get back in. I think our meeting is scheduled for like the week after I get back from my holiday.
It's in the diary. After honeymoon, it's like, say goodbye to the honeymoon period. Welcome.
Yeah.
I think the big thing I love to do is, and I'm so hugely passionate on, especially with yourself and so many other women, is seeing the development of a company. Knowing that I have supported you have been the power horse behind this business, but as a wing woman, supporting you, guiding you, kind of just showing you different ways and methods and strategies and how to implement them. And then seeing you get to this level, in the first year of business, 99% of businesses fail, which is really sad. And actually, the big tools are the support network that you can actually have around you for that. But when you reach that stage where you then are about to tip into scalability, that is something so exciting, which I love to do. And you are on the cusp. I remember in the last call, you were like, okay, we've got a really good problem on our hands. I've had to shut it and put a wait list in place because we're so busy, we're so successful. And now we're having to put automations for chatbots and, teams to come in to talk to people about it. And I was like, this is the best problem to have in the business.
Yeah. And I think as well, like that, you've absolutely, I couldn't quite clarify it before, but you've hit the nail on the head there with that fact that when you get the right support around you, it does accelerate you, because you're provided all of that knowledge from that person. And like that, I don't even know how you really quantify that. Like it's having a support system in place, it's having the right people around you. And I saw something really interesting that like apparently female business owners are much more likely to do this, of like, well, I am not great at that bit, so I need someone to help me with that. And I thought that was really interesting. So I was like, oh, so you're more likely to like put the right people around you if you're a woman, but also like if you have a mentor, that's so sad that businesses fail within that first year. Like I find that really... it's heartbreaking in a way, isn't it?
It's really heartbreaking. And if you think globally, female entrepreneurs make up 1%. Like, it is crazy. So if you're a female entrepreneur, you're a female businesswoman, you're listening to this, you are the rare 1% in the industry, in the businesses across the world globally that run a business. And actually, with that statistic being incredibly crazily low, and then thinking 99% of businesses fail in the first year from not the right infrastructure and support, it is really sad. So it's so important that, you do put the right tools and systems in place, the right people, the right support networks to accelerate the growth. And I think this is something that people are really afraid of when I speak to them is, oh, I'm not quite ready. I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have that. But actually, the return of investment that you get when working with a coach is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's what you provide and the clarity and having someone to like chat through those ideas with as well, of like, is this a good idea? Am I on the right page here? Or does it need, refining or tweaking or and I think even the language you use as well, like even when you're talking to clients, like you said with that sort of big project, even now, even the language I use when I'm speaking to like smaller people, it's not like smaller projects. It's not like I can't explain it really. It's I'm struggling to find the words for it.
Yeah, but it is. It's when you position yourself with the right narratives within your quotations, your phone conversations, how to direct them, how to direct your discovery calls, how to support. I mean, we taught in Design Destiny as well as a tiny bit in Fully Booked and Highly Paid about the pivot. And the pivot is something in the industry which we all know is when you have a client and they come back and say, well, I'm going to benchmark you against another interior designer, and actually I want you to come down on cost. You kind of pivot the conversation very quickly. And obviously you can find this information out in Fully Booked and Highly Paid and Design Destiny. Do you like what I've done there?
Just put it behind the paywall.
Just put it in there. But it is really key from pivoting those conversations and using that narrative and language that then clients just value you so much more and are 50% more likely to sign on the dotted line after you use a pivot.
Yeah.
And the right language.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the tweaks that Curated Spaces are going to make over the coming months, and what is the entry-level service that someone could go into Curated Spaces with?
So I think at the moment I have sort of 9 different sizes and 9 different price points. I think, and it's still very, very early days, but I think it's going to have sort of 2 levels. It's going to have single rooms. So that's sort of like if you're struggling with just a living room, if you're struggling with a dining room, that will have like a price next to that. And then for full floor plans, that's going to look very different. I think there's even going to be maybe just like from however many square meters all the way up to a certain point. So it's just very streamlined, because I think as well, one thing that I've really started to say and have conversations with people is that the more area, the more of your home that's included in this, the better your results will be. So yeah, fine, you can just focus on the extension, but fundamentally that's not going to deliver the best results possible. Actually, if you're doing renovation work, you need to be included the whole of the ground floor if it's changing. So there's all sorts of things there that's where that sort of pivot's going, of like, the more you include, the better your results.
I love it. I'm so excited for the next stage of Curated Spaces and what it's going to bring. And for everyone listening, obviously you can check out Jessica's service, Curated Spaces, not only on her Instagram, which is Curated Spaces _Studio Smith, but we're going to put the web link in the show notes as well, so you can go in and have a look at that and see this amazing service that she has created to support families and individuals all up and down the UK with their properties, their layouts, their internals. But before we go, Jessica, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give homeowners that were looking at a renovation or starting for their project?
I think it's really important to ask questions if you are thinking of working with a professional. Most people that, most architects, most designers are happy for a bit of a grilling. Like, I'm totally happy for you to grill me. I've got tons of other projects that I can show you that can demonstrate, the results that we've got. I think getting the right team in place is going to be a complete game changer for you. And if you're not sure what you're getting from an architect, from a builder, don't be scared to ask questions, because they should be able to be really clear about what it is that they're providing you with.
I love that. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today. Thank you for all your information, sharing everything, and watch this space for after she gets married.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Design Boss Dialogue. If you love what you heard, then please share the podcast with your friends and any women that could do with a dose of empowerment just from me. I would love to hear your thoughts around today's podcast with your key takeaways and wins, because your feedback means everything to me. Also, don't forget to leave a review as well as hit that follow button so you never miss out on any inspiring conversations with me or any other trailblazing women I have on. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and remember, unleashing your inner design power and unlocking your true potential is only a click away. See you next time.